Welcome back to Horses of Courses. I'm Tinia.
I'm Suzanna.
And today we are actually podcasting to you driving back from San Antonio, Texas. Actually, we aren't driving. We are in the back seat, and Nelson is driving in the front. And
we're not being backseat drivers.
No, we're letting him do whatever he feels is necessary to get us on where we're going. And we want to start off by telling you guys we are taking part in a Zoom. It's a 2-part series. The first part's already out. You can go back and listen in if you want with Steady Horse. That's Noah T.Y. And I was on there. Suzanna was on. Michael and Julia Lyons were on. Sony Gargullio and Bledsoe. And just giving feedback on their experiences with the Appalachian Trainer Face-Off, their experiences dealing with horses that have come from a rescue situation.
You left out the Canada one.
Oh, McLean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's kind of touching a little bit on feral horses, but it's a 2-part series. And if you go to Steady Horse on Facebook, or if you follow Heart of Phoenix, we will be announcing that next Zoom call. It's free to join in, and you're able to ask questions and just hear feedback from, I think, a very diverse group of horse people. It was a lot of fun, and I think the next one will really get to the heart of what we introduced in the first call, which is tackling the troubled feral or rescue horse and how that can differ from a horse that's always had handling or had a good start. So tune into that. I got a kick out of it. I liked the print screen that somebody shared with me where it looked like Noah was praying for us all.
Yeah.
And we all kind of, we were in the middle of something. It looked like he was...
That's what you do when you work with feral horses. You pray.
Yeah. So it was something that Noah approached us about. And if you don't follow Steady Horse, he has taken on Slate. We talked about this in the last episode that we were getting ready to... where we had already gone out that day. So we had finished up a day where Nelson was working with this alleged Andalusian stallion that's feral. And we were trying to decide, like, where would he go next? What would be the next steps? And ultimately, Noah offered to accept him. And that just kind of blew me away. I thought, wow, what a great opportunity.
Road trip.
Though, listen, after this trip, I don't want another road trip for a while, even though...
I hate that for you, because you're going again.
I've got them coming up anyway, of whatever my druthers. But what I really was excited about is Noah, he focuses on a really slow approach. That's going to be necessary for this horse to have success. And the fact that he was very excited about it, somebody motivated to tackle something. That's a great sign. But the way he documents what he does and shares that is kind of exceptional. So that will be, if you're not following Steady Horse, hop over there and start following. And it's not just about Slate. I think you'll learn a lot too as a horse person. We're going to hop into our kind of topic this episode, and this was Susanna's preference. We debated back and forth, but it is something she's seen a lot more of than even I think, and that is coronet band bulging. So tell us about that, Suzanna.
Well, on the page, people are always asking, we post so much about pay attention to your horse's hooves, make sure your horse's hooves are in good shape. People are always asking, how do I actually know if my horse's hooves are in good shape, or if my trim job is a good trim job, or things like that. And one of the easiest tips that I found out about probably 2 years ago now is watch the coronet band, because the coronet band should be one continuous symmetrical line across the top of the hoof. And if you don't know, the coronet band is actually where the hair meets the hoof. That's the coronet band. It should be one symmetrical line. Well, what I didn't know to look for, and a farrier taught me, was that if you see a wave in that coronet band, or a bulge in that coronet band, or a V shape in that coronet band, you've got something going on with your hoof. So the V shape would be in the front middle of the coronet band, and that would be indicative of a laminitic episode that has allowed the coffin bone to have some rotation. And then the wave on there would be, there is some part on your horse's hoof that is causing pressure to back up into the coronet band, whether it be that the heel buttress has not been trimmed off right, or the wall has been left too long, or something is your horse is traveling somehow where it's putting pressure up on the coronet band. But the coronet band should be one fluid, smooth, symmetrical thing. And oftentimes, if you go to a horse show, now that I know to look for it, I'm looking at it going, look at that. Ooh, that one's really bad.
And the times that I've noticed it, so I definitely agree with Suzanna, and it makes sense to me as a person who has a real love for like a high heel and a good shoe. Mm-hmm. You can make that connection even in that way. If a shoe fits really well, you're going to be comfortable. And when if it has lacing up it, or it has straps, and you have, if it's too tight or something, the angle is wrong, or the way the shoe is made is wrong, you're going to have, as a human being, a point where you're going to look down and think, oh my, and it's going to be like digging into your skin. So you could almost make that connection. So that makes sense to me. But you'll also see this when you have an abscess that's that far up, that's up into the hoof. I have seen a bulge. So you're going to see it on one foot, not mm-hmm. both. So I think, and you'll see, obviously, the horse potentially will be lame, but when they're really high, sometimes it's not as obvious, and they're not real clearly lame. So you may be seeing there's an abscess that's up in there, and so people often don't think about them. They will come on out of the coronet band at some point, so that can create that bulge too. But it is an indication something's wrong. So I noticed it a lot more after Suzanna started talking about it some years ago, and it's really not that uncommon, honestly. I think you pull horses, I think 1 in 4 horses have some amount of that, and cared for horses, but and
it can be a subtle thing, your horse could be just slightly not the happiest, or just slightly off, and it really wouldn't dawn on you that this is what the problem is. You just think your horse is having a grouchy day, but it's kind of like walking around with, I don't know, a rock in your shoe or something, and maybe it's not even a terribly big rock, but it'll just irritate the crap out of you, or a wrinkle in your sock or whatever, and just irritate the crap out of you.
Well, so that's something to look for. I think Suzanna has done some posts on the Heart of Phoenix page, so we do have some blogs talking about that, and coming up with
and some pictures of it too.
Yes, I mean, once you see it, it's very easy to understand what we're talking about. There are various, as she's saying, causes, but it's just that first line of, oh, there's something wrong, let's get to the bottom of it. So between your vet and farrier, I think you have a good place to start. Hey, something's wrong in the foot here.
The reason why I came to know about it is because my little Morab pony stopped wanting to trot, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was, and so I had a new farrier come over, and she's like, well, I see it right now, look at this. And I'm like, what are we looking at? And she's like, look how this goes up in a parabola right here. It shouldn't do this. You've got too much pressure on your hoof wall. Man, we cut that off, and the next day she was back to trotting like she should. And the next day the coronet band was almost back to symmetrical. It was just slightly not symmetrical. That parabola disappeared so much in 24 hours. It was crazy.
Well, so for those who don't know what a parabola is, do you want to share that?
It's a roller coaster hill.
Okay.
It goes up and down. Like
so she cut the roller coaster hill off of the foot.
The coronet band was in a roller coaster hill shape.
And what did Misty do to correct it?
The outside hoof was way taller than the inside hoof wall. Okay. So she took the outside hoof wall down.
Okay. So start looking for that. If you notice it, something's wrong, you can always message the Heart of Phoenix page and just ask, and Suzanna can direct you to some thoughts or questions you might pose to your vet and farrier to figure out what's going on. With that said, we're going to talk about one of my favorite horse products. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be for a horse. It could be livestock and, frankly, a human being. But I wrap a ton of legs at the rescue. There's always something happening where a leg needs wrapped, and sometimes it can go on for 6, 8, 9, 10 months. And
you should make a wrap to sing while you do the leg wrap.
I think I'll leave that up to you to write it
during you wrap,
and then I will sing it once you've written it. That's Suzanna's thing. She'll write the cute song, and then I'll sing the cute song while I'm wrapping a leg. It'll probably be Mackenzie's leg. And there is a product that I absolutely swear by. It's called gamgee wrap. It's expensive. I think it's $16, $17, $18.99, something like that. And it's something we always need donated. But the thing I love about it is it absorbs everything. You really can leave a wrap on a couple of days, and that may sound horrifying to some people that haven't wrapped the number of legs I have. And it's not about me not wanting to wrap it every day. It's that honestly, keeping it closed and covered longer when proud flesh is trying to form is the best thing possible, but you can't do that unless you have something that's not going to create and stick and adhere, and that's going to be able to absorb the level of moisture that could be generated by a significantly, damp wound, draining wound, whatever.
You know that saying, don't you?
What?
Sometimes less is more.
Sometimes less is more. And it really, honestly, in wrapping legs, as long as you've wrapped it well, and here's the other part about the gamgee wrap. If you wrap it well, gamgee is made so thick, and it doesn't
It doesn't roll down like a 1980s sock.
It doesn't roll down, but it also, it really keeps the thickness. And when you're wrapping, you're not going to make pressure points if you've wrapped it correctly. It would be unlikely to create pressure points if you use enough of it. And what I like to do is cut a rectangular piece of the gamgee off, and I will put that over the wound first so that the wound is particularly padded and that I can apply more pressure over that area because it will have even more of that wrap. So you can find this product at Tractor Supply. I believe it's on Chewy as well because I think we have it on our wish list. It's something we always need. And you can imagine it, $17.99 per wrap. We go through a lot. I think it usually will last me 2 wraps on a typical leg wound. So it is expensive. And people use quilted polo wraps. It's just no comparison to me in the quality or the different types of cotton. But the gamgee does not stick. It does not roll down. And it's so absorbable. I think it's a must-have product. You should keep some because if you ever have a wound, it's what you're going to want to have. So love that product. And I don't usually feel that passionately about horse products, but that's the only thing I'll use when wrapping legs. Next, we've got, we have this thing we write up to keep us on track. So we're going to talk about our adoptable horse of the month. But what I wrote is our adorable horse of the month. I
wondered if you just thought she was darling.
So our adorable adoptable horse of the month is a 25 to 30-year-old.
Very black.
Very, very black. Mare named Eve. I was trying to think, do I want to call her a Tennessee Walker or is she like a Kentucky Mountain Horse? I think she's maybe more like Kentucky Mountain Horse. Either way, she was turned out by whoever didn't feel like taking care of her anymore in Chapmanville, West Virginia, and she was running at large, emaciated back in the winter. A volunteer of ours, Melissa, came to the rescue, loaded up a lot of our corral panels, set a corral up in the area that she was traveling, and was able to lure her in with food. Really hard to even catch her, even in that round pen. Brought her to us. She still had shoes on, but her feet were so overgrown. I mean, you're looking at, when you see the photos, I mean, they had been on for, I would say, 6 months. The amount of foot on this horse and the fact the shoes were on was wild. The fact anybody had been riding the horse in the last 6 months blew my mind. She was emaciated. Her teeth were absolutely atrocious. So much that we've had her since New Year's. And we have floated her teeth 4 times, I think. Trying to get, working on them slowly because they were so bad. Thankfully, she still does have, given her age, she still has teeth. She is able to eat a little bit of forage. We do feed her, quite a bit of senior, but she has rehabbed really well, and she's a very calm, steady-minded horse. She still can be tough to catch in a large space, and she takes time to get to know people, but she's now used to being spoiled, so she expects popsicles, and I'm not big, anyone who knows me knows I'm not big on hand-feeding treats, but the mare's almost 30, she doesn't like people. We give her popsicles, she thinks they're great, and she's looking for a home. She actually is pretty sound. We don't even have her on Equiox. Our vet hasn't felt like that was necessary. She has now gotten to where she's, starting to get almost a little too heavy. So we have seen a little bit of probably some arthritis in the back end. But right now, she's very comfortable. She's not on Equiox right now. That may change soon. But she probably could do, lead line with a lightweight child. But we're looking for a companion home for her. She would be great if you already have a senior horse, you've lost a senior horse, and you're looking for a horse in the 25 plus age bracket just to be a companion to the horse you have, and you're already used to feeding senior feed and chopped hay, and you just don't want your horse to be alone. She's
Kelsey's having fun playing with her too.
Yeah, we have a volunteer, Kelsey, that's put so much time into her, and she's been ground driving her and just enjoys her. Like spoiling her. I mean, she's I think of her as kind of a really dignified horse. She has a lot of pride, maybe you could say, if a horse has pride. She thinks a lot of herself, Eve. she's very...
you.
Yeah, she's just me. But we'd love to find a home for her. We do have her listed as an Appalachian Trainer Face-Off Showcase. Kelsey intends to have her at the event and do things in hand with her. And, there's not a ton of folks looking for companion horses, but we do adopt out a lot of companions. And so I think there is definitely a shot of this bear finding a home. If not, she's with us, and she really is, she lives a very happy, high-quality life right now. So I'd love to see her into a home. You can do #HopTeamEve on social media and look up videos and photos of her. There are tons and tons and tons. Next up, we have...
You know what else, though?
What?
Well, remember that person who commented that every old horse we get, we put him to sleep?
Oh, well, hey, maybe that goes into our... Let's pivot and let's lead into... They did say that. They just recently... That. So that's our Ding-a-ling of the month.
Yeah, that'll be our Ding-a-ling.
We're gonna pivot from who we were going to showcase, and we're going to go to that person. I don't know what their name was, but...
I don't either.
I think it kind of factors into what was going to be the topic, which was euthanasia and people being so against euthanasia. But somebody made the comment that
there was an old horse that somebody needed to place, and they're like, don't contact Heart of Phoenix because all they'll do is kill it.
Yeah. And I thought, wow, you clearly don't know what we've done over the course of 15 years. I mean, we have a huge number of the horses we accept have been 20-plus-year-old horses. A huge number of the adopted horses have been, 20-plus-year-old horses. But, and Eve is an example. Eve came in and, my vet, and I agree, like, this horse is probably 30. But the thing was, there was nothing wrong with her. She was sound, even in that condition. So sound that, feeling like weight gain wasn't going to harm her, because sometimes a totally emaciated skeletal old horse, for one, they're usually an organ failure, but they usually have arthritis, significant arthritis that you can see, and it only gets worse with weight gain. So Eve didn't. So for us, it's always quality of life. Always quality of life. If the horse has excellent life quality and doesn't have chronic conditions that will deteriorate that life quality, then we are going to do whatever we can to get that horse well and into a home. The age itself is not a consideration to us. We have one of my favorite stories in the last year has been placing Skeeter, that 24-year-old, when he went to the adopter, 24, 25-year-old, or is he 26 even?
I don't know. He's up there.
He's up there. He's registered, so, he's in his mid-20s. And we drove all the way to Morgantown to get him safe. And he's in an adopted home, and his adopter just posted on our group how she just couldn't live without him.
Yeah.
So we have there's a horse we kept in long-term foster, Lannister. Lannister was 30 years old when he came to us 9-10 years ago, and he was totally emaciated, but there was, again, nothing wrong with him, and Lannister was a quirky horse to handle, and we had him in long-term foster he was listed as adoptable. Nobody was ever interested in adopting him. And we just put him to sleep, and he was 40 years old.
And had cancer in his mouth.
And he ended up with a small cancerous tumor that was growing rapidly in his mouth. But his life quality was good. It had just started. And we, his foster hauled him to the vet and got the diagnosis, and he was euthanized. And so, how many rescues out there have supported through their foster process, a horse till it was 40 years old that we rehabbed as a 30-year-old. And so it's just life quality. And so statistically, the odds of a neglected senior horse coming to us without a chronic condition and having a good outlook is very, very slim. So it's not our fault that when you all neglect, not you all being our listeners, but you all, the horse community out there, neglect a horse and throw it away like it's trash at 25 and we get it. The odds are the only decent thing that can be done is to offer that horse euthanasia. And if you read studies on refeeding that have been done in people, refeeding an emaciated human being is dramatically painful. So why would you put a 25-year-old horse through refeeding that has arthritis all over its body? Why would you do that? It's cruel, and it's motivated by making yourself feel better. So we're very anti that. And I care about what research has proven out to be true. And so if you're going to put a horse through a couple of months of painful refeeding, and the acute painful part is the beginning, why would you do that if there's no chance of them having a good life after? And so that's something we just won't do.
We wish we could get people to reframe what the word rescue means, because people think rescue means keeping something alive, and rescue means letting something live out its life free from pain and distress. And
well, not even live out their life. I think it's just literally free from pain. To me, rescue is freeing something from pain.
If you're ending the pain, they've lived their life until you're ending the pain.
Yeah, but I mean, the element, like rescue is I came in and took you from a bad situation and didn't let you remain in a bad situation. And there's too many
I did what was best for you. Rescue should be, I did what was best for you.
I gave you what you needed. I provided.
What you needed.
So there are too many organizations out there saying, I'm a rescue, when in fact, they're prolonging suffering of animals at a very high level. And it's very hard for us to watch. I mean, we talk about, I don't know that a day goes by that Suzanna and I do not have a conversation about how hard that is to watch. There was an instance last month where I was sharing a lot of feelings about euthanasia, and several people came on defending instances where they allowed animals to suffer gruesomely because potentially vets had told them, oh, it'll be fine. And I would implore you to, as a horse person, understand that, understand where that line is. Yes, seek a vet's advice, but do seek vets that really have a firm ethical stand that supports the AAEP's euthanasia protocol. If they don't, they're not giving you good advice, and they're actually giving you advice that's outside the realm of what the American Academy of Equine Practitioners euthanasia protocol says. So an animal that cannot move about freely, do all of its regular activities, that will need prolonged pain management, or has chronic conditions that can't be totally alleviated with medication. These are things where the animal's not being served by continuing forward. So,
but it's incumbent upon us as horse owners and horse lovers to make a safe place for veterinarians to be able to say those words for us. Because one of the reasons why veterinarians won't say those things is because the owner reacts so negatively, withdraws their business, or yells and screams and has temper tantrums, or says you don't know what you're talking about. And so some veterinarians literally won't say what needs to be said because we haven't made it safe for them to say so.
Well, and I think that happens, and I've had those kinds of conversations with vets where they say, I can only say what my client base is willing to hear. Guys, you can't be that kind of client base. That's not, you are not only hurting your own horse by being someone who makes a vet feel like they can't tell you the truth, but you're hurting other horses because they're going to be influenced by that, and then the next person they're going to assume would act that way. And so...
But you're hurting the veterinarian, too, because my veterinarian will tell me she goes home and lays in bed at night thinking about how she wished she could have euthanized the horse, but the owner wouldn't let her.
I have heard that from vets, that they say you wouldn't... Well, they say, they know that I do know, but that the term, you know, that you wouldn't believe. The term, well, you wouldn't believe how many of my clients' horses need euthanized, but they won't accept that, and I can't really share with them how desperate it is. So, and here's the thing, the people who need to hear this, they don't. They hear this and they think, well, it's not me. It probably is. I mean, it probably is you. And I don't want to like demonize somebody. Nobody's perfect. I myself have held on to small animals, you know, cats, dogs, longer than was best. And I understand you get emotionally attached, but you can't make yourself so important that you're causing an animal to suffer because your emotions have been kind of glorified to that degree. So, for that Ding-a-ling, whoever they were out there,
we don't kill all the old horses.
We don't euthanize all the old horses. We euthanize a lot of horses that have been neglected and can't be repaired because of what other people have done, and that is what is ethical and that is what is right. Now, certainly never deviate from that, but just to clarify, we've rehabbed tons of seniors, adopted out tons of seniors, and we're a huge advocate for senior horses. And Eve is one such senior that's with us, waiting for a home. So we are getting ready to roll into the month of August, and there's just not much else we can talk about but the Appalachian Trainer Face-Off as our main topic.
Up fast.
You know, what I always say, what Adam Black, his quote from probably 4 years ago, it goes faster than you think.
Faster than you think?
My life, it goes from planning the ATFO, recovery from ATFO, planning ATFO, and we just circle back, and that's what we do.
Talking about the ATFO.
Yeah, there's not a month that goes by we don't talk about it. Hey, ATFO, next month we got to start applications. That's Susanna's favorite. But this year we have more judges than we've ever had before. If all goes well, we have Lee McLean from Keystone Equine coming all the way from Canada. And she has a huge dedicated following. We've never had people as excited as they've been about her coming down. We have Noah T.Y. from Steady Horse coming back from Texas.
What is his real last name?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know. Noah T.Y.
Noah T.Y.
Tillman Young.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, Noah Tillman Young. I did know. And we have Michael and Julia Lyons coming to judge if they're able to swing it. There is a little bit of a conflict on a camp, so Julia's not positive, but hopefully Michael and Julia will be able to come and judge. Sony Gargullio coming back. He was in New York last year. Now I think he's moved down to North Carolina.
Yep.
Michael and Julia are in North Carolina. And then Carl Bledsoe coming up from Georgia, and he's just Gate is his business page. But I think the way we've planned to do it this year, if we get all of the judges and it works out, is we will have 3 judges judging, because we have 4 sessions this year, which is new. That's more than we've ever had before. And with those 4 sessions, you'll have 3 judges one day with 2 sessions, 3 judges, and then they'll flip the next day. And then freestyles will be judged by all judges. So it'll give everybody a chance to be scored by all of the judges, but we'll split them up into groups of 3 is the plan. And it'll give the judges a break because there is so much more to judge this year. It'd be
that bench is hard.
That bench is hard. And we need to tell them to bring pillows.
Oh, yes.
Bring your pillow. Then to tell you about the divisions this year.
Bring your tuchus cushions.
We have new for this year is the whippersnapper division, which is horses that are 2 and under that are not old enough to be started yet. And that is adult competitors with horses in hand.
Whoa.
We have the platinum division, which is horses that were already under saddle that were not anything particularly complicated, just getting some finish on those horses. We have the Diamond Division, which was unstarted horses, but not feral horses, that were expected to be a straightforward start. And then we added the Outlaw Division, which was for troubled horses, difficult horses, feral horses. We've had lots of move arounds we do every year. A few trainers have had issues where they've had to drop out. We've added a trainer or two that came on once the event started, and we've switched out a few horses. Actually today, Henderson will head back to us, who was partnered with Maribeth up in Indiana, and we replaced him with Beep, who was in the 2022 event, Adopted and Returned. So there's so much, moving them around and replacing horses as needed, changing things. It's fine. We just know that's how it'll go.
We got this new fella joining us as an announcer. What's his name? Wayne Williams.
Wayne Williams has judged all sorts of equine events across Canada and, the U.S. Sony Gargullio reached out to Wayne, and he was very excited to really volunteer his time and come down. He's going to be announcing it on his show, and he will, I think he'll make it really professional. What I'm hoping, as far as the announcing portion, I think what I'm expecting we'll have him do is live stream as the trainers come out to comment on how they felt they did in each portion that they compete in, and having an experienced interviewer and announcer to live stream that will, I think, be very engaging. You know what I mean, Suzanna? But you'll be the one holding the phone, live streaming them, at least on Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday.
So I think that kind of feedback will be neat, and we'll get somebody to do that on Saturday as well, because Suzanna has a wedding to go to, so she's missing it. It's very sad.
Yeah.
I haven't quite gotten over that, but
it's sad.
It's just sad, full of hardships life is.
But, we have to take off our horse rescuer hats occasionally.
Every now and again. Anyway, if you are looking for something to do, the Appalachian Trainer Face-Off, if you're listening, you probably are familiar with it, but there's a chance you aren't. It is a training competition that is, I think it's exceptional. I think it's the best type of event you could attend that is set up in this same kind of format. We have 45 horses between the showcase and the competitive divisions. If you're looking to adopt a horse, absolutely go to AppalachianTrainerFaceoff.com. I think I've got the website really set up well. After 8 years, I've finally gotten it where I think it's easy to navigate. I think it's pretty concise, easy to find the horses, the trainers, the information about the height of the horses, breeds, etc. There's a horse for everyone in this event. Please hop on the Appalachian Trainer Face-Off Instagram, Facebook, share as much as you can. Sometimes people say, well, I don't know how to help. I love what you guys do, but how can I help? Sharing what we do is the simplest, easiest, no-cost way that you can lend a hand to saving horses in Appalachia. It means a lot to us. If you can plan to be at the ATFO, there is camping on site, RV camping. There are tons of hotels local. Winfield, West Virginia, it's an hour from Huntington, West Virginia, probably 45 minutes from the Charleston, West Virginia airport. Easy to get to, not in a rural location. We'd love to see you there. I'm sure you'd love to meet the judges, meet your favorite trainer. If you are wanting to help in a way where you're giving money, there are still trainers that need sponsored that have not had their stalls sponsored, their meals. And if you go to heartoffphoenix.org, there are 2 blogs that have everything you need to know about the ATFO, how to sponsor, how to become a vendor, how to adopt, all of that, and how to attend, where to stay, as well as we have a fun show that's open to the public, and all the information you need about that is right there. Do you have anything else to add, Suzanna?
Yeah, you know how else they could help us?
How?
We need prizes, so they could go hit up their local horse tack stores or Tractor Supply or Lowe's and see if they'd be willing to donate prizes.
That's absolutely true. I think this year, Brittany's telling us we really haven't gathered a lot of prizes.
We're kind of lacking this year.
We have cash prizes and ADM. I should mention our sponsors. The Humane Society of the United States is a huge sponsor of this event this year, and ADM is an incredible sponsor. They're sponsoring, I believe, 2 tons of feed that will be divided up between the champions of all the divisions. So That has been Kids Reign. They have been a sponsor this year. I believe we've got them covering the champion buckles for all divisions, but we still like to make prize packages, and there are all sorts of things that can be donated. Gift cards from Tractor Supply, halters, lead ropes, barn fans, wheelbarrows, anything that's useful makes up prize packages for our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th places as best we can. We like to make sure they leave with a prize package. I think that's about it. We are actually getting close to Kentucky and ending the Nelson Suzanna part of this journey. I will be driving on to West Virginia, and we will be back next month, and that episode will probably be kind of a special where we interview trainers and judges and just kind of do all things ATFO.
All right.
Well, that's Horses for Courses. We'll talk to y'all next time.